Lattice is an interesting modifier that converts the topology of an object into a skeleton of itself. For example, here I've created a geosphere that uses the Icasa geodesic base type. I'm doing this to simulate a geodesic dome. And I'll go ahead and apply the lattice modifier and watch what happens. Instead of all of those surfaces connecting the triangles on the geosphere, now we have a lattice of geometry that forms along the edges of the geosphere. I'll zoom in closer and you can see what's happening here. So this is one of the triangles on the geosphere, and it's been converted into these struts and joints. Right here you can display just the joints, or just the struts, or both. And then there are interface elements to control the struts and to control the joints. Let's take a look at the struts. We can control just how big they are. And right now they're composed of boxes because they have 4 sides. Let's say we want these to be round. I'll give them 6 sides and then smooth them. And I'll turn off edged faces and you can see the effect. Looks pretty good. Go back to edged faces and come down here to joints. Here's where you can control how much geometry appears in a typical joint. An Icasa joint has more geometry. Tetra joints are the simplest, moving upwards in complexity through octa and Icasa. Add more segments to have more complexity. Smooth it. If you want to have a nice little sphere there, I'll change the radius, make it maybe a little bit smaller. So that's what you can do with lattice. And to make this more interesting, perhaps what I might do is go back to the geosphere and assign it an edit mesh modifier, which I'll cover in greater detail later. But I'm doing this because I want to go to its polygon level, and I'll orbit down here and select just the bottom of the object, and I'll do that with a crossing selection. And I'll then apply the delete mesh modifier. So we're getting rid of the bottom now. This is how I do it. And then the lattice modifier doesn't show the bottom because there's no topology there anymore. So now we have our geodesic dome. And if you wanted to infill the triangles with glass, here's how you might do that. Let's make a clone of this object in the same position. I'll make a copy. And then on Geosphere 2, what I'll do is just get rid of the lattice modifier. And then I'll apply a material to it that has glass, so that we can see through that. And when we render that, we'll see glass now appearing in the triangles. So lattice can be used in a lot of ways, as you can see, to create structure based upon the topology of your object.